Hey there, my name is Jackie, and together with my partner John, we bought this derelict cottage. We have spent the last 3 years committed to transforming it from ruin to a family home we can be proud of. We are delighted to share with you our progress from week to week, and we are so grateful to you for taking the time to tune in. So this week we have a question and answer session on our experiences so far. So thank you for taking the time, and we hope you enjoy our latest video.
Hello, I'm John,
I'm Jackie.
and today we're going to talk about why we bought a derelict cottage and the pros and cons of everything along the way. So, what made us consider buying a derelict cottage, Jackie?
I think it was definitely location for me anyway. It was the trees, the forestry, the quietness of the road, and I just loved this. And the old stone was definitely captured my eye.
And for me, what made me want to buy one, well, to be honest, I always wanted to do up an old barn, and I was looking in France and places, but I wanted to stay at home. I grew up in the city, but I wanted to stay at home, and my mum moved close to where we are, so I was thinking at the time that when she gets older, I'd like to have a place for her to be able to come and stay with us, or to visit, and so that I could look after her. So that was one of the reasons. And another reason was the price, because in Dublin City you'd pay a phenomenal price for a house, like, and we're a bit older now, not that we're old, but but because we're a little older, the mortgage we would get like wouldn't be half of what we could build here ourselves, like, in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. No, definitely.
What drew us to this property would be that we seen the potential in it. It was surrounded by woodland, and it was a really old cottage with lots of character. So that was kind of the initial draw to this property. When I first viewed it, I could see the potential in the property, but I could also see that there would be an awful lot of work with the property, but we were up for the challenge, and we kind of knew what we were getting ourselves into, but not fully, which we'll explain later on.
Yeah, sounds good. Yeah. Well, for me it was definitely, I think, the quietness and some place for our kids to be able to play, big garden, and on summer evenings just being able to sit out, enjoy, just relax in the peace and quiet, and have that freedom of not having the hustle and bustle. That was for me.
And for me, like, where I grew up, since I was in my early 20s, I never had a garden, so I lived in a kind of a small house that outside it was tarmac, and it just wasn't what I always wanted. So I dreamed of having my own garden, and that was part of the expectations I had for the project, was that we'd have a beautiful home, not too big but big enough for the family, because you have to heat that house in the end, but a place where you could call your own, with a nice garden for your kids to play in, peace and quiet. You could come out, you could listen to the birds, so that was kind of the vision I had in my head, that we'd have that and we'd be close to nature. So when we first started the job, we just really got to work, didn't we?
Yeah,
We cut down the trees, many trees, and then we realised how lumpy the garden was and stuff.
Yeah.
We had to get that landscape, but that took a long time later, and then we got to work straight away on the house. The house itself is 160 to 200 years old. We're thinking 200 years because on the OSI maps it's there, on the really old map, so it's about 200 years old. So as you can imagine, there would have been a lot of issues with the house, like structurally there would have been problems, and they all had to be fixed,
yeah, but over
time.
Yeah, but we wanted to keep as much of the character, like, of the cottage, like the stone, as we could.
That was one of the kind of the even when we went for planning, like, that was kind of one of the things that they really wanted us to do. Well, yeah. It sounded like,
yeah,
on
keep
the
that
conditions.
character.
Yeah. So just weekly we just got to work on the house, and you know, we got stuck in, we cleaned it out, we did a new floor, insulated it, kind of gutted the whole place, what needed to be gutted in it. Then we built timber work inside and insulated it well, and it's kind of stood to us.
Yeah.
Yeah, it has, like, we've 150 mil insulation on the walls. I can't stress that enough, that it's important, like, to have as much insulation as you can within, especially if it's an old house, because they tend to get very damp.
Yeah.
They
And
do.
even in the area, there's so many trees around us, so it was definitely.
This is the garden now, by the way. So yeah, so when we moved in, before we moved in, I should say.
Yeah.
Where did we live?
We lived in a lovely mobile home, right in the back.
That's right, and we stayed there at least 3
3
days
nights.
a week.
Yeah.
We did. Oh, I was getting sore.
Yeah, and then we kind of bus, and that was fine. So when we got there, when help used to come up, we used to actually cook. We had no electricity, no water, so everything was on the gas. So that's how we used to feed and cook and do our own meals. But then it got very, like in the winter months, it to get very mouldy, and like no matter how much you clean it, the following time you come back, it'll be all dirty and greasy and mouldy, and so we couldn't stay there long term.
No, what we did, we stayed a good while, and while we were there, because the house was purely an off-grid house, like we'd no electricity, we had no running water, we'd hardly any internet. I had to download movies onto the phone. We used to call it the telephone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and like we just kind of got on with it. That's what we did, and we got up every morning and we go to work.
Yeah, and even for light, we used to just have these little
candles,
electric
candles,
yeah,
batteries.
and battery candles.
Yeah.
And that used to be our source of light. And you know what? It's a great memory, because it's something we look back upon with fondly, for me anyway.
Yeah, me too. But we'd no toilet either, so
that was
every
fun.
morning when you get up, like, it would be literally over to the woods, as the bears do, to go to the toilet. So it was rough beginnings, to be honest, and it wasn't easy.
No, it definitely wasn't.
It wasn't easy at all. We kind of had no means of heating the place, and we didn't really have any means of doing proper meals either, so we'd buy ready meals in one of the local supermarkets. I'd probably have two.
Yeah,
You'd have one.
I'd have one, and I'd be eating half of his.
Yeah.
But,
but it's fun, like it's almost, it is like it's camping,
yeah,
to be honest. That's what it is, and you're kind of excited about doing your house and your project and getting going with it. So, but we had full-time jobs at the time, so
that was tough.
That was tough.
Yeah.
We had to do that. We had to
commute
every day, an hour and a half each way.
Yeah.
And yeah, we had to do a lot of things, and then it was only kind of Saturdays that we'd actually get up to the house to do any work. So
yeah,
you could see the progress slowly.
Yeah. And that was the best part too, about when you wake up in the mornings and the caravan was outside your house. When you wake up every week, you would just look out and you'd see so much progress. So that was great motivation, especially in the winter months when you were just not feeling very optimistic. So that kept us going. That was a great motivation.
I would say, on just to add to that in the summer months you'll get an awful lot more done than you will in the winter time, because the winter days, they're much colder and they're much shorter, especially where we live. So enjoy the summer months and make the most of them, and really get stuck in as much as you can.
And I suppose the highlights was definitely seeing the progress every week from the people that helped us and from our own work. I think there's a huge attachment when you do it yourself. So definitely the highlight definitely is a great sense of pride and seeing weekly progress.
Yeah.
So that was, I think you have to do it to appreciate it, because I would have never done anything like this before, and I wouldn't have appreciated the work and dedication and the love that went into it, and the saying, like, blood, sweat and tears go into it. Literally, we had all of them.
Tears from me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, right. But it's very hard to describe in words, but it is just a sense of pride, and anybody that will do it will totally understand it. So
yeah,
it's amazing. Problems.
What it will be for you if you do decide to do up and renovate a derelict home, it'll be a pure labour of love.
Yeah.
Where you'll need perseverance, dedication. But what I will say to you is just enjoy the process and realise that in the end it will all get done. And take your time and do it right, because my motto in life is do it right or do it twice.
Yeah.
And if you don't do it right the first time, you're definitely going to come back and do it again. So take your time and do it properly. Now I forget the question. What was the question?
Oh, problems.
Problems encountered.
Oh,
The problems for me anyway would be that with the roof we kind of hadn't decided which material we were going to use, so that was one problem at the start. Originally I was thinking that we'd use a kind of a zinc finish roof and modernise it, but that ended up being too costly. But what I had done, I kind of jumped in before I could get going properly with it, before I decided, and put the battens one way. And then when we decided against doing the zinc roof, we went with tiles, and then the battens needed to be changed. So that was kind of an issue, getting back up on the roof and trying to adjust them properly. That was one issue. And then a second issue that we had would have been with the plumbing. Although the guys that did the plumbing did a really good job, the pressure valve broke, and silly me says I'll put that up high and try to bleed out a rad, and ended up bursting a pipe behind the wall. So we had a swimming pool inside the house for that evening, and then it took us a long time to find that leak because it was behind the wall. So that was another issue. Did you have any other issues?
I think that was the main one, the leak.
Yeah, the leak and the roof.
Yeah.
The roof was tough, especially doing it ourselves.
Yeah, I'm doing it.
So I'd say to you, like with the roof, maybe if you could afford to get somebody in to do the roof, it's probably a good call. It's tough to do the roof. Yeah. Anything else that you can think of?
I think it was that leak. It was a tough one.
Yeah, the leak was a tough one.
Yeah, and you had to cut portions of the wall out and then plaster it up and
Yeah,
paint it up.
and as well the front of the house. Now my dad done the front for us, but even to build it up and try to match the stone in properly was tough. It is easier. You will hear people saying it, but it is actually easier to build from scratch than to go over work. But I think, I don't know, if I was to do it again, what would you do if you could? I'm kind of glad that we kept the original building. There's just something about, if you have a building that's 200 years old, you want to keep that.
Yeah, and the character, because and I think like you said, it is definitely easier to build from scratch, but the character that was there is gone.
Yeah, and it's just something about people built that building so long ago, and you just want to keep it and do it justice.
Yeah, even for them.
Yeah, for them, and it's just an awful shame to knock it down. But sometimes if you need to knock something down, you need to knock it down. Like our building was healthy enough, but yeah, I think. Yeah.
I'm glad we kept this. Oh, definitely help. As much help. We had some fantastic friends and family that helped us out every week, so that hugely sped things up. But also it was nice to have them around and help us, and the company and the crack and all that. So that was great. So yeah, definitely you'd need help for a lot of aspects of building your home.
Yeah, I would say definitely if you can get help, definitely accept the help. And no, hold on, let me think. Hold on. I won't stop it.
Okay.
I would say definitely accept all the help that you can get doing your job, because it's not easy, and it makes it more fun as well, that if you have people around, especially kind of at lunchtime and times like that, like you can have the crack and the chats and enjoy it, and it just makes life that much easier. Especially, you might not get skilled help, but if people can help you doing anything, whether it's cleaning up or anything at all, just take the help. And be very thankful for the help that you can get.
And
could you do it on your own?
I think so. I think so.
I think you could do it on your own. I think it's going to take you a long time, but definitely you could just one room at a time. You could do it on your own. Yeah.
Definitely, but I think even for motivation and spirits, like lifting your spirits and things like that, you need that sometimes. But I think you could, but it'll be a lot tougher. Yeah,
so I would say accept any help you can get and be very, very grateful for it.
Yeah, absolutely. And we had some great neighbours as well that helped out.
Yeah, even with Jared, actually, Jared just like charging the electrical stuff for us.
Absolutely. And he'd come down and we'd often say, oh, we'll be up in an hour, 2 hours. And he'd just pop down with us, and he wouldn't have known us very long at that
Not
stage.
at all.
But it's people like that say, God, I'm so happy I moved here, because that community spirit that we have here, it's priceless, and I'll never take it for granted. But some great neighbours, and even people that passed by said, if you need anything, just call us. And sometimes we wouldn't have even known their name at that stage. So for that, we're grateful, and the welcome that we have here.
Yeah, neighbours are good.
Neighbours are great,
God.
and it was great to have that. So
Yeah, so take the help you can get, and take it with gratitude.
yeah, absolutely.
And the final question is it worth it? And I would say, absolutely. I'd do it again in a heartbeat. It's not easy by no means. We're not going to complain about it. The work is tough. It's a real labour of love. You want to be self-motivated, self-disciplined, to get up every weekend and do the work. Your life will change, but it's all for the better. And I would say that every job you do is one step closer. Every block you lay, you're getting closer to just having your dream home. So I would say 100% hand on heart, I'd do it again in a heartbeat.
Yeah.
I would, I really would. And for us, like at our age, like we will be mortgage free in 10 years, and we'll have our house bought, no interest to the bank. Everything that we buy and everything that we build is our own. So, and just to see the actual joys of your property, and you do it the way you want to do it, and you have exactly what you want from it in the end. It's kind of like you're creating the thought in your head, you're bringing out into reality if it's clear enough. If it's clear enough, your dreams will come true with hard work. So I would say, hand on heart, I would definitely do it again. And I'm so grateful and so thankful that we made the move, and that we actually decided to do it, and we put all our efforts into doing it. So yeah, it's 100% definitely worth it.
Yeah, absolutely. Everything that John said there, I'd have to reiterate that, because it's like I said, like John just said, it is tough, but every day that we had kind of low days, we kept saying one block at a time, and it literally does help. And it is the joy and like all the benefits there that John said, I feel exactly the same. So
Yeah.
definitely, and with the baby and just everyththing, it's hard, but my God, it's definitely
It's
so worth it.
And as we said at the start of the video, you just wouldn't get what we're getting.
Yeah.
You just wouldn't get it. You wouldn't be able to buy, like, what you spend doing the job is expensive, but it's still probably half of what it would cost to buy it outright. But you have to put in the work.
Yeah, so it's definitely worth it. And always what we can say like to ourselves is that we can just imagine the feeling of when it's totally done, and sitting down and just looking around and saying like that we did that, and it's priceless. It's very hard to explain, but definitely worth it.
And we still have quite a ways to go. You can see our extension in the background that we're building the blocks up now, so you can follow us and watch our progress as we go. And we want to do the garden. Hopefully next summer there'll be a lot more done to that. So follow us and see our progress. We're going to do a weekly not podcast, that's not the right thing.
No.
What's the word? I'm not kind of up with this stuff.
We're a bit old.
A weekly blog. So follow us, subscribe if you like, and thanks very much. Give us a like.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, and if you have any questions, leave it in the comments and we'll definitely get back to you.
Thanks a million.
Thanks for watching.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Bye.